Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending Jackson County's first Vendor Diversity Forum. I'm Sylvia Stevenson. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for Jackson County, and I'm a new face, so I've been on the job for almost 2 years. Exciting. Before I go into the agenda, I first want to acknowledge our elected officials who are present in the room. To my left here, we have Jackson County Executive Frank White Jr. And to my right, I have Jackson County Legislator for the 2nd District, Ron Finley. I do have a few housekeeping items for everyone. If you haven't already, please sign in for us. I know some folks have their business card. You can leave your business card, but please sign in for us. Also, there's refreshments outside this door in the foyer. If you need restrooms, it's out this door to your left, down the hall. And if you need Wi-Fi, it's on the whiteboard. There's one on your left, one on your right. Okay. And most importantly, I almost forgot, if you park in the garage, please make sure to get your parking ticket validated. You can do it in the front lobby. It's easy, you stick it in the machine and you're good to go. All right, so today you're going to hear from Jackson County representatives about a few things. I'm using my cards because I'm the MC today and I'm a panelist, and I typically don't MC often. So thank you very much for allowing me to do this here. So you're going to hear from county representatives on how to do business with Jackson County, what we are doing to create inclusive procurement and contract practices, increase minority and women participation, and improve our overall procurement and contract business practices. Finally, you're going to get a chance to comment, help us on this journey. This is new to us, so help us on this journey, but to also ask questions. Next, I'm going to introduce our panel. From their left, we have Jaime Gielan. So sorry. Jaime Gielan. He is the Chief the Chief Compliance Officer. And then next we have Barbara Casamento. She's our Purchasing Administrator. And next to her is the Senior Buyer and Purchasing, Craig Lee. And then you have myself, Sylvia Stevenson, Chief Administrative Officer. Again, doing those 2 roles today. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program. The person I'm about to introduce gave me my first assignment, and that assignment was to work with the legislature to address the concerns they had about the county receiving low bids on our RFPs, and to also address the issue of low minority and women participation. Let's see, that was a year ago. Since then, major progress has been made. Please welcome my boss, Jackson County Executive Frank White Jr.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank all you all for being here tonight. This is really new for me. The one thing about Jackson County, since I've been the executive there, is that we've had a lot of things that we had to get caught up on. And one was our technology. And tonight you'll see where we are. Barb and Sylvia worked so hard on this project, and I've known Barb for 8 years, and I've never seen her smile so much. As she does when this program came out. So I just want to welcome you all here, and I'd like to thank the planning committee consisting of our county and legislative staff for all their hard work to make tonight happen. I'd also like to thank and recognize Mr. Ron Finley for being here tonight. This vision for this event started with Ron. And Ron, I know some of you guys spent a lot of time together. A fierce champion for our community in terms of diversity, minority women, and business participation in our jobs with the county. And I think that Ron you never held back. You know, every project that came from the legislature, he'd always say, what are the goals? And I just, when I went to survey, said we really need to find out why more vendors weren't signing up for our projects, because we might throw out 56 and only get 2. So we just really had to work hard on building confidence in our procurement process. And I think after tonight, you agree that we're on the right track. So Ron, thank you for your fierceness and your persistence in getting us to this point. So what we try to do in Jackson County, we're trying to build a better, more equitable Jackson County, and the reason are that contracting and working with diverse businesses is a key component of economic equity, job, and wealth creation in diverse communities. And so we're proud of the progress we've made to increase our ability to engage in more diverse businesses, and specifically through the launch of our new software system. And that improves efficiency, transparency, and communication in our available contracts. So you'll learn more about that process tonight. And it's my hope that when you leave here, you have the support and the resources you need to successfully compete in the marketplace. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to be here tonight. I want to thank our panelists. I want to thank our committee. And Jackson County is committed to diversity and inclusion. And we want to create a more equitable outcome for all of us. And we cannot be in a position to accomplish this without your participation here tonight. So thank you all for coming. And I didn't want to talk a long time, but I just want to say that the folks here tonight are very special to Jackson County, because we recognize that we do need to move forward, and with our technology, we need to upgrade so much. And this is a good first step for us. And hopefully tonight you'll see that progress is being made, and then we're investing your tax dollars wisely and to make it better and more equitable for everyone to participate. So thank you again for coming. And you get it? Do I introduce the next person you want?
Nope.
Okay, you got it. Thank you so much.
Next we will hear from Legislator Ronald E from the 2nd District. This particular gentleman, the county executive, had already shared with you that he and I work closely on this project, and we will continue to while he's at the administration with us. Mr. Finley has been a driving force in support of administration's effort to dive in and to review the county's current contract procurement practices. And without him, we would not be where we are today. So, Mr. Finley, I want to just kind of be intimate when I say this. We work closely on issues that arise from every contract that comes across the legislature's desk. And so it's been a pleasure and honor working closely with you to address those issues and to be able to tackle some of those the issues that no one has addressed before. So to you, until you have. So thank you, and without further ado, if you come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I was looking at this handout that you have. I guess everybody's got one. Okay, read it. Make sure you understand it. These programs don't happen by accident, and the opportunities that they are creating or are attempting to create, they don't happen by accident. Now, it's just an outline that says generally what's going on, but you know, some of you may know I've been in government a long time. I was first elected to the city council in 1991, and we had to start this back then. And Jackson County has a program, and I was a little shocked and surprised at the responses we were not getting from the minority contractors, minority communities, women communities, etc. So one of the first things we did, with the assistance of the administration, was to begin to reach out so that you would know and others would know that what needs to be done to get involved and to submit credentials and to submit bids. And we have some new software and new computerware that allows that to be done on a more efficient basis than before. This has been a commitment of mine because I'm a businessman myself. I've had a law practice for 45 years. I'm not a civil rights lawyer, although some people would wonder what I am, but we have to go forward as businessmen and women presenting a product or a service in compliance with certain regulations of government if you wish to do business with government. And I know a lot of the corporations, from the large ones to the small ones, are very interested in doing business with government. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because people are working, they're qualified, they establish a track record, and they are successful. And those who are in policy-making positions are interested in seeing a diversity in government commitment. Now, if they aren't, there's some that aren't. But at the same time, that should be a goal. And frequently, in my experience, it has been. But I can tell you that it is not a simple matter to have it occur. And a lot of you know. We have tried to do programs and had no response. But now there is more of an opportunity to bid, as people will tell you. And there is more of an opportunity for a diverse involvement by the community. And that's always been a goal of mine. And I don't mind getting on people's nerves about it. And so that's why it's always been something that seems critically important to me. Now, I'm leaving office at the end of the year. Someone else will be in this position. I'm happy to say that those persons who came through the primary are persons who are interested, are persons who are committed, I believe, or will be, and they will, a lot of them have never served. So they will need guidance, they will need information, they will need communication, and I think that possibility is there. I will help out as much as I possibly can. But there will be new legislators at the end of the year. And practically entirely new legislators. And if you don't know those people, and you want to do business with Jackson County, get to know them. Not only get to know staff, and get to know, have your representatives. You know, we used to have, when I was with the city many years ago, we had minority contractors associations, various minority contractors associations. Not that we probably still do, but they still need to be communicated, and involved. And I'm sure that whatever hurdles have been put up or will be put up or attempted to be put up, those can be overcome. These are tax dollars. And we all pay taxes. I hope you will have success in working with this government. I have reason to believe that you will. And I encourage you to keep the channels of communication open, to bid, to talk to the staff, to offer your credentials and products, and then provide a quality service in response to the opportunities that we have. for work to be done. Now, this is Sylvia standing up. I've had people do this to me before. And ordinarily out of courtesy, I have said what I wanted to say. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you are here. I hope you'll follow up with the administration and with the legislature and where this program is going. Because there's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that need to be done. Thank you all for your support in the past. Thank you all for your help as far as the times I've run and various things. And good luck on what you still have to do. And I think most of you know what that is. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our panelists. We're going to hear from Jackson County's Purchasing Division, Purchasing Administrator Barbara Casamento, and Director Craig Reed. They're going to go over how to do business with Jackson County, how to register on our new procurement website, Bonfire, and some more other features they're going to talk about.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody, and thank you for showing up. My name is Barbara Casamento. I've been with the county in June. It'll be 40 years in the purchasing department. Right now, sitting here right now at this time and space, we have three things that we have never had before. We have support. I thank Mr. Finley, Mr. White, Miss Sylvia. We've never had support on these kind of programs before, and it comes from the top down. So that's the biggest thing. We have software that is transparent, easy to use. Anybody can use it. Anybody can get in and look at it. We also have construction, which we've never had before, but that's a big market that we can get a lot of MBE, WBE veteran businesses involved in. Have it open, wide open, so they find it's transparent and they can bid on it. Those are three things we've never had before. And because we have them, I feel very confident that we are going to continue to move in the right path and be successful. We are, our software, our leadership speaks for itself, has spoken for itself tonight, and we thank you. Our software is where the vendors need to come in. Everybody wants to know how you do business with Jackson County. Well, normally a bid is issued or some sort of a solicitation. If you will take just a few minutes, and Craig is going to show you, to go onto Bonfire and get registered, that means that they have the NIGP commodity codes. You choose those commodity codes, and when a solicitation comes out in an area you're interested in, you get an email. The good thing about this vendor, it is very transparent. You can see it. There's no way you can't see it. We have great customer service, so there are tutorials after you sign up. You will learn how to use this software. You can watch these tutorials, or the people who are doing the bids for you can watch these tutorials. Bonfire is very good if you're trying to get a bid in, and like most people, we wait till the last minute. They move the bids that are opening that day up high up on their list so they can get questions answered. And Mr. White is right. I've smiled a lot because the more I use this software, there's nothing I can find about it that I don't like. And I believe you'll like it too, and you'll learn to use it and bid on it and take part in our bidding. We really do want to be more inclusive. I feel like we're that close. We want everybody to know. On construction, I'll give you two things. We had a big health department rehab earlier this year. It was awarded to a woman-owned company. We had a wastewater treatment in the parks that was awarded to a woman-owned company. So it's there. You just have to come get it, folks, and we'll talk to you. We'll help you out. But this software is wonderful. So I'm going to have Craig. You won't talk and look at Craig's my senior buyer. I couldn't do without him.
Good evening. As Barb said, this software is amazing. Barb is, I've been with the county for a little over 20 years, and Barb is one of the most competent and honest people I've ever worked with or for. And when we went through, I'm not kidding, but that is the truth. I actually had worked with several departments in Jackson County, and I came to work for Barb because I knew what it would be like. When we were getting this software, Barb was hammering the questions at people, at the developers, and at the people, and every time she asked a question, they gave her answers. She said, wow, that's just by how National Institute of Government Procurement works, NIGP, and that's her Bible. So every time she would ask a question, they'd give her an answer, and she was just amazed. And like Mr. White said, she smiles, and it was one of those things that my office was right next to her, and I would hear her, and it was like, wow, that sounds pleasant coming out of Barb's office. It was just wonderful. And when we kept getting into it, any question we would ask, they would help us. Something we would ask a question, like, oh yeah, we can do that. Well, yeah, sure, we can do that. And they're very, very, like you said, support-wise. I emailed them today. The person who I emailed wasn't in. Emailed the person that they said contact this within an hour. I had an answer. Just very, very responsive. Wonderful company to work with. So this is, I'm going to go over on the vendor side, on your side, of what to do and how to get on the website and register. We also have these cards. If you'll pick up one of these, has a QR code, and anything, if you have a question, the purchasing email address goes to us. We can answer it through there. And 9 times out of 10, we'll tell you to go to Bonfire for support, and they will answer you better and faster than we can come up with it. But if you want to talk to us, we're more than happy. And all these links, if you would email Barb or myself tomorrow, we would be able to send these to you. It's a very, very simple process. So if you were to go in, create an account, go into Bonfire Hub, and this is the first screen you'll come up to. New vendor registration. Very easy. Click on that.
It's free. That's a big point.
It also is free. There is no charge to the vendor for this, and there is no reason for you to have to pay anything. And actually also said it's transparent and it goes nationwide. Anybody in the country can bid on anything that we put out. And for an example, I just put out a bid. It went out to, like maybe a week and a half ago, it went out to 1,000 people. I've already had 16 people, 16 companies, download the documents and look at them to see if they're going to bid or not. And that is one of the things that we just didn't have before. We didn't have access to know who was looking at it, who was going to bid on it. Our access and knowing who and what is looking at our product or our bids is amazing. As you go here, it's all fill in the blanks. And Bonfire, another thing is if you miss something, it'll let you know and it'll pull you back and not let you go on without having everything that's done. Both as far as registering and when you get farther into putting a bid out. You fill out your things, create the account. Once you create your account, you log in. Matter of fact, while we were here waiting for you guys, my computer locked me out. I had to go back in. Within 2 minutes, I was able to come back in and get my password reset. Which is very, very simple process. Very great software. Then you'll know if your account was created. You'll end up getting an email. They'll send you an email saying, "Congratulations, you created an account. Here's what you do." Then it'll have you complete your registration. That's where you go to here. You create your account. Do that. If I'm going too fast, or if anybody has a question, stop me, because I'll answer anything you have, or just, once again, they will be able to help you a lot better than me, and it's not difficult at all. Come here, enter all your information, create your password.
Hey, Craig, if I may interrupt. So if someone's on their phone and they're trying to go to the site and say they didn't get this, does everyone get one from the table for check-in? Okay, we'll pass them around, so you guys kind of get on the phone. I heard you were up front, but I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just scan that QR code, it'll pop you right into that. And it also is, it's friendly on any platform. Your phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, anything, it'll work. They do not have, and I asked this question, they do not have an app because they said there was too much to try to put just into an app. So they can't do it that way. But if you get on your browser on your phone, as long as you do it through the web, it'll work on that, through Safari or Chrome or whatever you have on your phone, it'll work through that. Thank you. Once you start moving, then your account confirmation. And as you're going through this, any questions you have, it has little links to where you can just answer them right away. Easy, accept the policy, their terms of service. And then here is your profile, very generic. Just everything here is as you would have, all your address, all your general information.
Is anyone in the room trying to pull it up on their phone?
Yes.
Are you having luck? Good luck.
No.
QR code is working.
QR code is working. But there is our website that's on here, which you can go to.
It's not the website, it's, it goes to Jackson.
Oh, it's going to the Jackson?
Yeah, jacksongov.bonfirehub.com.
So I'm gonna write that down so people can, you can go to Jackson County, you can go to jacksongov.org, our website, go to purchasing, and there's gonna be a link to go here. But it's also in writing here, but I'm gonna write it on the board. So you're in over here. You want to go to the site up here? Our Jackson, can you do that real fast? He's gonna go to our Jackson County website and show you, instead of you writing it on the board.
So this Jackson County Gov on this card doesn't work? It's listed here?
It does. It's taking you to our website, the QR code, and then the link on here does. It's just you have to type it in.
Okay, so this is our county's website. Doing business with Jackson County.
Some of us have big fat fingers, we can't do it on
I
this.
understand.
You gotta get that.
You are not alone.
And old.
So it takes them to this page, right? Yeah. Yeah, because this gentleman just said it takes you to our website.
Jackson Gov, period, bonfire hub, period, com.
Right, and that's what's on here. And that's taking you to Bonfire or to the county's website?
It's a combination of both, it's jacksongov.bonfirehub.com.
That's right.
That's right.
It's the bonfire portal,
It's the
yeah.
Bonfire portal. Because I've
That's right
been
here.
on that, yeah.
And this is actually most of mine, since I'm already logged in. This is, if you go to here, to the Jackson County, the bid opportunities and vendor registration.
So everything on here does work.
Yeah.
It does.
The problem is that I'm logged in, so when I click on that, it's going straight to my bonfire. But I'll go ahead and log off.
So we don't know everything about it.
One thing I will say is we've already done, it's not November yet, we've done twice as many bids this year, just because of this. It's so much easier to get out.
I think just the mere fact of being more transparent and allowing everyone to see what you're doing, having an audit trail. We've been able, since February, we've added, since the last count, a little over 1,500 new vendor registrants. That's impressive. And that shows you that people do want to do business with us. They're just, I think they've been waiting for us to be a little more transparent and be vulnerable and come out and talk about our business practices, those business practices, and that's what we're doing. But after today, later on this evening, if anyone wants help with getting on, I'm here to help. Three of us can help you, or you can, I have my business card sheet, so we can help you.
So if you go to our website, this is what you would see. Now this also, even without an account or registering, this is what we have open. These are our, it's just a list of our open projects, our open bids, and everything we have. You look at the contracts we have, everything. So like Sylvia said, the transparency is out there. We're not trying to, everything is in Bonfire. You can see without even having an account. It's just right there for everybody, the public to see. From that point, you click login and register. Now, here's that new vendor registration, and there you go. And that's how you would start your process.
And that's what they're gonna see on their end.
Correct. This is what you would see on your end. And from this point, you start, and it will walk you through it very easily. Then we come back to this point where you register, put your general information in there, and like it says, fields marked with a red asterisk are mandatory, and it will not let you continue without those. Like in here, vendor type, that's part of the way. If whatever business you're in, it will click on that. It'll let you register for that. That way, anything that we put out that is within that code, you will just automatically receive information. You'll receive an email on that bid. And you can look at it and say, thank you. You can download it, look at it and say, oh, this is a great one, bid on this, or however you feel. And we come down to here.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we directly contracting with Jackson County on these particular situations?
Yes.
Okay, but then, like when you're building your Jackson County Detention Center, I'm working on the J.E. Dunn. I got to fill out their thing. It won't have anything to do with you, or I still need to register the vendor, even though I'm subbing under J.E. Dunn, or whoever.
We are
the general.
separate. We are separate.
I'm sorry?
We are separate.
So we still need to do both?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because
And this is for all
Oh,
contracts,
okay,
not
gotcha,
just
gotcha.
J.E. Dunn, the detention
Yes,
center.
yes,
But if
that's what I was
you're
kinda
working with
noticing,
them,
right.
You would go through J.E. Dunn.
Right.
But if you see something else, because there's going to be other projects related to construction, once the jail is built, they start breaking, well, they already broke ground, but there's going to be other projects on here.
That will go, you would be the contract
Yes,
manager.
so
or
to your benefit as a vendor to register, even though you're currently under
Right.
J.E. Dunn.
Okay,
to give you an idea, the county, just on an annual basis through our purchasing department, we have about 210 term and supply contracts for all sorts of things to.
I'm in the drywall business.
Right,
yeah.
okay,
I mean,
okay, you
framing-
wouldn't be
framing
interested in
and sealing
that.
it.
However, you would be interested in the fact that now we do the construction
Okay,
bids
that's
that
what
come
I'm
out.
kind of getting at. Okay.
Of all these, we have about 40 professional services contracts. We also have 15 to 20 construction contracts a year. So that it's quite a diverse amount of business. Please register, because you never know what's going to come out. I don't know what's going to hit my desk every day.
Okay.
I've been surprised every day for 40 years. So.
Do you have a standard contract, subcontract that for a person to review, and insurance requirements and those kind of things?
Those come out with the bids.
They come out with the bids.
Another feature I wanted to mention is there is a subcontractor feature on this. State of Missouri on some competitive bids and requests for proposals, they do not allow us to tell you, unless there's a pre-bid, who the big contractors are. The subcontracting feature on this, once we click it, you can go on there and say, I sell landscaping supplies. I'd like to partner with you on this project. The bigger companies see that, and there's a way for the two of you to communicate without having to go into the file. So it has a lot of nice features. And be advised, we're 8 months into it. We find out new stuff about it all the time.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask some more questions.
You go ahead.
So are your submittals, and once you go through the process, is it like texture and some of where you got to do everything through this system? Or is this just for registration to understand the company that you're doing business with?
Everything comes through the system.
Okay,
Everything.
so if I have an office manager that does billings and all that, they would have to be the ones to get on there? Because I'm the owner of the company, I don't want stuff coming to me.
Yes,
personally.
absolutely. If you have an
So
office
multiple
manager,
people would have to get on this, is what I'm asking.
if you have one, you can do it either way. If you just want your office manager to submit to register with it, you can use a general email address or their email address. So they would be the one person. You can submit multiple email addresses.
Okay.
We have some companies that have 5 or 10 different email addresses that it goes to, that whatever, another neat thing about this is, and I don't know how they do this, but this is one of the things that's really cool, is say you have an office manager who's, John Smith at whatever your company's name is. They leave, it has a domain match where if we send that email to them and it gets kicked back, it tries to find a replacement email for whoever took that position over.
Is the project management, because I heard you mention about issuing bids through that process, is the project management of the project through that process as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's a different,
It-
the
it
normal
might-
Your
process.
billings and your submittals would not go through that.
Yeah, it might be a professional services contract
Okay.
to
but-
come up with the project manager, then they come up with the bid. and-
Okay, but I'm talking about submittals and change orders.
No.
You know, the
No.
project.
No, that would not come through here.
So this is a procurement system to where vendors, contractors can come here. First step, register, because you want to start receiving notifications about bid opportunities and contracts and business. So you register. Once you register and you get an email notification of, hey, we have this RFP, and if you're interested, you would click on the email. It's going to send you the link of the RFP, the project. You click on it, it takes you to Bonfire's portal, and then that's when you start filling out, responding to the RFP that you got notified about. Yes, there's a bunch of, oh, well, you guys know, I just know because I've done a lot of the implementation training.
But she wants it for you to hear.
Oh.
She wants the vision.
Oh, okay, thanks. But, so that's primarily what this is a procurement portal. We're just, again, we're behind, back in the old days, but we just had it sped up, so now we're there. And, but once you reply to the RFP, you submit your bid, whatever, you're submitting your response to the RFP. Say you're selected, then all the stuff you're describing about change orders, you gotta get the project, you have to be awarded the project first.
Right,
This is
right,
not
right.
awarding the project.
Okay.
This is getting you started, getting your
Then
exposure.
it's another step.
There you go. This is responding to contracts.
But there is nothing on the Jackson County website itself that you have to register through only Bonfire. So like Casey Mo, you register with the city.
Okay. So you register,
It's just Bonfire.
it's just
It's
Bonfire.
just Bonfire.
Just Bonfire. I get what you're saying, just Bonfire.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through Jackson County. No, it's just Bonfire is that.
Okay.
That's why they're smiling a lot, because they have less work, and but that's great, because you should have been doing all the things that we're doing by paper, by hand, by manual. No, so I'm excited that we're
We're
here.
manual. We're
I'm
manual.
excited that we're here, so it's seamless, so yes. Okay, so we have a little bit more time. We want to cover contract compliance through our chief compliance officers. Before we get to Jaime Ian,
Got it.
we're going to hand it back over to Barbara, and you're going to, if you don't mind, Barbara, to finish kind of talking about some of the things, kind of what we're working on right now briefly, and then we're going to hand over to contract compliance and take some more questions.
On jacksongov.org and everything, you just scroll down, it's got right there, bid opportunities, and it takes you straight to the procurement portal.
Yeah.
Which that's right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to show one more time.
Yep, that'll take you right there.
Can you go to the
We'll
website?
go to the website
You go to the
and show you
website.
where that was. Front page of jacksongov.org.
There we go. That's it?
Front page of jacksongov.org.
Oh, okay. That is it?
Scroll down, right,
Oh,
go back up,
yeah.
right, bid opportunities. There it is, jacksongov.org, bid
Thank you.
opportunities. There you go.
One other quick thing, if you register on Bonfire with Jackson County, any other government entity that uses Bonfire, you will also see their bids. And I believe Kansas City's using it. So if you register with us and you have something and there's several places in Missouri that are using it, and there's several places in the Midwest that are starting. So if you've got something that you can do but you will see bids from anybody that's using the software, which is really, really nice. Because we're getting bids, we're getting questions from places from Oklahoma on some of our bids.
So, if you don't mind, hold your questions until we hear from our compliance. Because we want time, and we can run over, that's not a problem, but some of you may have places to be, and we want you to get your questions answered. But we also want to hear from
our compliance division. I'm going to hand it over to Jaime Ian.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you guys for coming today. Our office, the Compliance Review Office, we work hand in hand with Purchasing Department. There's two things that we do that is related to this. We assign goals, and then we have what's called a certificate of compliance that basically anybody that's wishing to do business with Jackson County fills out. What that does is that it ensures that you are current on your Jackson County taxes and that you attest and agree with the county's non-discrimination employment policies. So that, it's usually, it's always in the bid information, but you can also register for a certificate on Jackson County, on the Jackson County website, jacksongov.org. They're good for a calendar year, so you can apply for it, and then when you do a bid, you have one in place because it's one of the requirements for submitting the bid. So that's that. The second part is we do our MBE, WBE, WBE program for contracts over $50,000. So any professional service or construction or even supplies that's over $50,000, our office reviews it, and if we're able to find 3 certified firms, then we assign goals to that. The county has an aspirational goal of 21.2%, which we break it down 9.5% MBE and 11.7% WBE. So on those contracts that we assign goals, we put that in the bid so you will know, if there's goals assigned there. We ask for a contractor utilization plan to be submitted to us, and we review that. If you submit a bid, and we will review that to ensure that everybody that's on that contractor utilization plan is certified. And then we ask for percentages, and that will become part of the contract if it's awarded. I'll go back real quick. Jackson County does not certify it on its own, but we accept certifications from the City of Kansas City, State of Missouri, State of Kansas, and I think Mountain Plains. We also, and KCATA as well. So if you have certification from one of those entities, then we will accept the certification. The other thing is that, we were talking about software and technology and all that. So one of the big things that's helped us track and do everything is we moved to the B2G system, which a lot of the other entities around here use. So if you have an account with, for example, City of Kansas City, it's the same account, and we use that to monitor and track and ensure that the contractor the prime is actually utilizing the MBEs and WBEs and BBEs and ensure that you guys are getting paid as well. So our office, we do site visits, make sure everybody's performing, doing their commercially useful functions, because we're here to advocate for the small firms and everything. I think that's what I have on that one. I think one of the biggest things is that the county does have a requirement to find 3 certified firms per scope of work on contracts. So if we don't find that, then we will not assign a goal. But that's to keep it kind of competitive. So we've been able to, I think currently we're monitoring about 50 contracts that have MBE, WBE goals on them. So, if we can find them, we're able to assign. Another thing that we do just a process-wise is that even if we don't assign goals, we work with purchasing and we provide them a list of anybody that we found that is certified that can get a notification for, that can possibly bid on whatever's come through to us. So we are all on board on trying to get, other firms to bid on our projects. And we look for them. I mean, like I said, even if we're not able to assign goals, we will provide a list to purchasing for notification purposes to make sure that everybody's out there because we do want to attract the business. Basically, that's our program. It's a subcontracting program, but there is opportunities a lot smaller businesses even with the county. I want to kind of go back to what they were talking about, the NIGP codes, the commodity codes. I would, and Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would try to put on there as many codes that you can perform so you get all the notifications. Because I know some people will limit themselves a little bit, and you might miss opportunities that you can get. So,
100% agree with that.
right.
If it touches your business at all, put it on there.
Right.
Even if you wouldn't get the main, you would look at subbing. And when I put out a bid, I will put the commodity codes in there that touch anything I'm looking at. So I'll send it out to a lot of people, and if your commodity code pops up, you'll get the notification. Another thing to touch on what Jaime said, that he,
Test, check.
Check.
when they send us a notification, when send us something that says, hey, these are some of the businesses you should contact, even if they're not on Bonfire, we will add those email addresses on and send you notifications. So if somebody is not on there, but Jaime's found that they are a business that deals in that, they'll still get a notification. Now, they would have to register with Bonfire before they put a bid in, but they would get a notification beforehand.
So with that, I think that kind of covers our program and how our processes for the subcontracting program.
Sorry. Tried it.
So I guess so you're going to open up for questions?
Yeah, get over the questions. So which one's working? This one's working?
Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Okay, so we're going to turn it back over to you all to ask more questions and then provide us with comments, because you've heard what we're looking to accomplish, and we're a ways away from that goal, but we're making some progress. What are some of the questions that you all have and some of the comments? And then I'm going to talk, before I share some of the things share about some of the changes that are coming to some of our practices, but they got to be approved by the legislature, fingers crossed. I think my response my comments may be a response to some of your questions, so I'm gonna hold back and allow you all to ask questions.
Hi. Does your bonfire, does it provide forecasts of projects and the actual scopes?
Questions for these level folks.
It'll provide the scope.
It will.
Yes.
If the bid's out, yes, we give
I
you,
mean, before bids, like you have a list of your 2023
no,
projects, does it list out?
no, it doesn't go on to Bonfire until it's actually a live bid and we're gonna spend money on it.
And I'll say that
At check-in, there's a list of our remaining projects for 2022, the remaining projects, and then a list for 2023. Hang on to that, because if you sign up, you're going to get, and if you put the right NIDP codes in, you're going to get notified of those, or you can just keep checking back. It's up to you. Yes?
Yes. Heather asked the question and then you repeat the question and hand it to whoever's asking or answering.
My question is there anything in Bonfire that Jackson County offers for real estate practitioners? I was going through, I saw an appraiser, that's about all that I saw for real estate practitioners. And then my follow-up question is, does Jackson County still operate the housing, not housing authority, but homestead authority? It's been a while since that's.
There's a housing 40 years. Housing Resource Commission.
Housing Resource Commission, maybe, sir?
Possibly. I can get some kind of contact information about
Did everyone hear what he asked? So he had asked if we still operated in the homestead, I think it's a homestead commission or cooperative. We are not aware of homestead, but we think he's referring to the Housing Resource Commission. It's a committee, and it's a committee that there's funds allocated to that community housing resource commission through the annual budget process, through the legislature, and a member of the legislature chairs that housing resource commission, and they allocate funds to certain organizations and agencies in the community related to housing. So we think that's what he was referring to. All right, never mind. Homestead Authority includes the city of Kansas City. I thought that sounded familiar.
I thought I heard the young man ask about real estate professionals and opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, occasionally, the county is involved in a real estate transaction, and perhaps there can be some explanation provided as to how that process of procurement of a real estate professional is utilized. And I believe that's what, if I heard you correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I can answer that question. So currently, Jackson County, everyone on a contract has to go through our procurement process. Everything has to be bid to satisfy our Chapter 10 contract bidding code, county code. And so to answer your question, we currently contract with a real estate firm, Zimmerman, I believe that's their name, but they're on contract. So whenever that expires, it has to go back out to bid. So we do hire a contractor, a consultant that does that real estate purchase and sale for the county. Yeah. So something like that would be on bonfire that a business or contractor could bid on. You're welcome.
Yeah, Ms. Sylvia, I wanted to answer this gentleman's question. You were asking for forecasting, and we may not have a lot of forecasting, but I wanted to point out to everybody on any competitive solicitation we put out, there's a question process. You can go in there and ask any question you want. If we're not giving you enough information, if we've got it and it's publicly available, we will either attach it or answer those questions right there in Bonfire. So if we're not giving you enough information, or if you have questions, there's a deadline that's about a week before the bid actually closes. You can ask all the questions you want to, and I would advise that you do so, because it can make the difference between you understanding how to put a good bid in and thinking, now maybe I can't do this. So that question process, we've always had it just through Bonfire. It's lightning quick and much easier to get to your questions and get them answered. So please remember that the question process is always there for you.
My name is James Davis with Davis Safety Supply. I want to ask you, I'm sorry. Okay. I want to ask you a question here. Now, does that mean that if I live in California, that I can bid on something in Jackson County, Kansas, Missouri, Jackson County? So would you, can you sell to the manufacturers as well? So I mean, I'm in the supply business, so if somebody was selling safety cones, the manufacturer in California sells safety cones, you would sell to the manufacturer.
Are you talking about users?
No, look what you got. Would you sell to the manufacturer?
Would we buy it?
I'm sorry. Would you buy it from the manufacturer? If I was
If
selling
they
safety
could,
cones,
I'll answer that.
So there's a process, we have our
Yeah.
process.
I can do that. So, as far as purchasing a safety cone or some product,
right?
yes, we would. We would.
You would actually buy it from that manufacturer in California.
If they could
They're
give
bidding
us,
on it.
right, if they could give us a better price.
I see.
Part of that is, would their shipping cost more than from you? Would you be able to buy bulk wholesale? There's a process that we would have to work. By state law, correct me if I'm wrong, Barb, we cannot give preference just for local companies. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can.
We can?
Yeah.
In some, okay. No,
Yeah.
now also in some things, say it's a service that we're offering. If you're in California, you better be able to explain to us how you can offer that service. And for the most part, that's hard. I have dealt with some things, before I was working with purchasing, I dealt with our our drugstore. And we put out a bid for urinalysis. And we've got bids, one of the biggest, California just has a huge numbers coming, California and Arizona. And they explained to us, how do you know, they, in their bid, they said, yeah, we can handle this, we can do this, this, and this. They actually failed. And we ended up having to get the county councilor involved in dismissing that contract and getting somebody and rebidding it because it was just, they weren't able to do it.
Well, how would the owner, I mean, the person like me compete against the manufacturer? I couldn't compete against the manufacturer.
How would you offer preferential treatment to the local?
And I'm the minority
if it's put on
person,
price?
so say. And how would I compete against that? I can't compete against manufacturer.
So I will tell you that it depends on what we're looking to buy. It depends on a lot of things. For an example, with public works or parks, if they're looking for someone to do irrigation in the ground, they're not going to get someone from California.
Yeah, I understand.
They're not. Now, I don't. Heidi had touched on about how we are able to assign goals on certain projects that are over $50,000. The amount's over $50,000. And so if we are able to identify in the market at least 3 certified MBE businesses related to that, what we're looking to buy, then we will, well, that's for the subcontractor, though. That's for subcontracting. But that doesn't mean that minorities can't be primes. That's one of the things that we're working on. Mr. Finley, Legislator Finley and administration, we're working on to create opportunities where you will see minorities as primes, not necessarily always a subcontractor. Those are the things I hinted to earlier about. We're working on internally, working on some practices that historically we hadn't done, and through that we can create additional contract opportunities where we see minorities as prime, women as prime, women-owned businesses as prime. But to answer your question, it truly does depend on what we're looking to purchase.
Mr. Davis, I haven't seen a situation like that in a long time. Usually, I've run across it once or twice, but usually if you want to sell, you take the manufacturers and then you give us a discount off their prices and we buy it locally. We do not run into too many situations where we've got a giant manufacturer competing against the local business. We recognize as business grows and technology grows, we put it in our solicitations for a long time. If you're not in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area, tell us how you're going to do this, because vendors have creative ways of doing this. But that's one problem. You're talking about competing against a giant manufacturer. I just haven't seen that happen too often.
But it can happen if you guys.
It can, yeah,
It can.
I like Barb said, I haven't seen it. The one thing I would say maybe is some specialty stuff like corrections things. And there's like Bob Barker has that just because they do that specifically. But like our office furniture, our office products, almost all that stuff is local. Those are all locally owned companies that are doing that.
But it's a national account.
But correct, and they, yeah, right. And they just kind of, it's easier for them to just have a warehouse here and get it to us. I mean, it's for the most part we have almost all our stuff like that is local. We don't really get the big people.
The departments prefer to work with.
That's also true. That is true.
And then what also happens when we
Submit legislation to the county legislature to approve awarding a contract, we may have a legislator like Legislator Finley, he mentioned earlier, he may question about this award. Why is this award, why are these folks over here in Wisconsin? I mean, I think don't we have some businesses here local? And that does require us administration to do a little more research in that process. So it does sometimes get stopped by elected officials just to kind of further ask the questions. And we appreciate elected officials doing that. So the administration, we do our job to try to investigate that and see if indeed was there others. But the thing is that sometimes you have things that people just don't create. It's a limited market. Some businesses are here are limited in Kansas City because they don't manufacture it. But to your point, sometimes things are stopped and says, hey, let's take a look at this. Another question?
My scope of work is really different. I'm a construction photographer. So most of my work either goes to the architectural firms, they have that in the scope of work for the project, but the contractor, they're not thinking about that, they're thinking about the brick and mortar, the steel, and all this other stuff before they even think about my scope. So at the last minute, I'll get a request to go out and shoot pre-con on something. I can get one on Friday. I need to be there on Tuesday. With your platform that you have, am I able to see projects beforehand? I know you guys said you can't forecast until that job actually goes out to bid. Is there any way that my scope of work can give me some type of heads up so I don't get last minute requests for projects? Because this is the thing that causes me chaos for 40 years. So I'm trying to figure out, with me bringing somebody new on, which I am doing, for make this process easier for her to be able to find our scope without getting last minute requests on stuff.
Okay, you will find, like I just put out a big road, bridge project, Haynes Road Bridge. Doesn't open, sorry about that, doesn't open till next month, but you can look at that, and that one probably has the subcontractor feature on it. You can go on there and say, I am a construction photographer interested in giving you services. And then when the big companies look at that, they can get with you there. That would be, it's out there, it would behoove you to look through it on a daily basis. I mean, we're winding down construction. You've got a few more for the end of the year. But I would look through it regularly to keep ahead of it and to use the subcontractor feature to put your services out there.
Okay,
Take 2 minutes.
One other question. How you mentioned goals. I'll probably, if there's 2 MBE construction photographers in a region, if you don't necessarily have 3 bidders or 3 subcontractors, MBE firms, does that goal still become required by the contractor because I am certified? Or would the contractor then be able to do this work in-house?
So it's, we assign it based on scope. However, a prime can always add a scope, so we allow that. I will say, just on some of the architectural professional services contracts, I've always assigned goals on them, and they're fulfilling them. So they're probably one of the bigger fields or services where they are using MBEs and WBEs. And their goals surpass what we assign on them. So and then this is kind of Barb's lane, but I would look at past projects on here and see who they're using when they're coming up, in order to kind of see what we do, because a lot of the things that we do are repetitive. We have multiple professional services contracts. Right.
You can go on Bonfire and see.
You can go on that. That'll kind of give you kind of a forecast, because we kind of do this all the time. We'll have various construction or our professional services contracts. What we call term supply contracts are on-call contracts, and usually they're awarded at a 12-month and one 12-month extension. So they're kind of bid every 2 years. So you kind of see that there will always be an opportunity there. But again, once we receive that contractor utilization plan and everybody outlines who they're going to use, they're always free to come back and add scope of work to that.
So I have a question. So when whomever registers to become a vendor on Bonfire, they have access to everything you guys start talking about. You talked about contractor feature, looking at past projects.
They can see who was awarded.
Who's awarded projects. They have access to all of it.
They can look at past projects without even being registered. I just did that through the Jackson County website.
I think that's a good resource on this Bonfire thing.
use it.
For the ladies who are walking out, do you need some information about how to do business with us?
No, we got everything on
Okay,
there.
cool, all right, thanks.
My question is, after we get on it and get registered, do we have to re-up it every year, like to do some of these general contractors?
No, sir.
Just when something changes in the organization or something, we probably
I
have to
guess
update it.
that would be an answer. If you expand your business, if you expand your company to handle something else,
Or if your contact information changes.
but
And the reason why I was asking is a lot of these ask for your insurance certificate, which, you know, you got to update every year. And
Yes,
certain things you got to put in. Or
we wouldn't have to update that every year once we have it
We
for
don't
you.
ask you for your certificate of insurance until we're awarding you a contract.
do you ask for previous tax returns and all that kind of stuff?
That is,
Yes, sir.
Jaime would make sure that your Jackson County taxes are collected, but that's it.
Yeah.
But if you were to
That's
change your
part of that
business,
portal is what I'm asking.
if you were gonna expand your business and cover something, so like, say you say right now you do drywall, if you're gonna say, I'm not a construction guy, so whatever, if you say you're gonna start doing concrete too, you get back on there, you update your, account, to say you just add your NIGB code. If your address changes, you get on there, change your address, anything like that.
Our certifications.
Correct.
Renewed, so.
Yes.
So, all right.
Yeah.
You just answered my question.
But you don't have to put that on there to be registered.
Oh, you do not?
No, sir. It's
Only
just
when you're
those-
starting, when you're
those basic
awarded,
information.
when you're awarded, bid, that's when you load all that. And
If
then,
you, I'm sorry, if you need something, we'll have it in the bid. It'll say required submittals, 1, 2, 3, 4, I need these items.
And bonfire won't let you get in until everything requires it.
We got a young lady over here.
Hi, I'm Ivy with Lynch Electrical. We are an MWBE with the city, so I guess that certification will then reciprocate. My question is, do you have like electrical maintenance contracts or opportunities where I can be a prime electrical contractor?
I want to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. And I want to, same question, I want preference for being in the area. Okay.
I don't know about that, but I certainly want to talk to you. I need your information.
anyone else have a question?
I do apologize, but I just came in the start of the Q&A. But I have a towing service, me and my husband. I am currently in the process of applying for my certification in the state of Kansas. So that's a separate entity, is that correct, for the state of Missouri? And then also, do I have to be registered, do I have to have a certification in order to register as a vendor?
I can answer the first part of that. We do accept certification from the state of Kansas. And the second part of that is I don't think you have to be registered. Your MBE certification doesn't have to be complete to register for bonfire. The other thing is that say that your certification is not complete yet, you find a prime, there's a project, and they want to use you. As long as you can show proof that you've started the process, we will accept that also. So you'll be able to get credit for being an MBE or WBE. I guess one other thing I want to say about that is there's a lot of businesses that are dual certified, but we only allow you to choose one. So you can get credit for MBE or WBE, you can't get credit for both. So you would still need a subcontract if there's an additional, you would need a subcontractor to do a bid right there for the additional.
So Jaime, my question is for us, do minority and women vendors, must they be certified in order to do business with us, to be awarded a contract?
Not in general, but if you want to fulfill a goal, then yes, you have, let me see.
Oh, sorry.
If you were trying to fulfill a goal, then you either have to be in the process or already be certified by one of those entities that I mentioned. KCATA, City of Kansas City, State of Missouri, State of Kansas, or Mount Plains. So yeah, if you're a prime, then if you're a prime and you're certified, you can fulfill part of the goal yourself. You would still have to fulfill the additional goal, provide us a good faith effort in how you try to fulfill that goal.
Yeah. That's why I asked that question.
If there is a veteran in the room, what certification does a veteran need? Anything other than a DD 214?
You're talking about BBEs?
Yes. What certification, if there's a veteran and they're interested in doing business with the county, what certification does that veteran need to produce?
So we do assign a voluntary BBE goal on our projects. And what we ask for, we have an affidavit, because technically there's not a certifying agency like the City of Kansas City. So we ask for an affidavit along with your discharge forms.
You can also get, I'm a veteran, you get a certified with savings.
Right. Right. So we'll also take that, so.
Yeah, or
It's-
vet vets.
Or vet vets, right.
You said that if you're dual certified, you can only use one. Is that in the system, the bonfire system, or when you're making application or applying for, responding to an RFP?
If you're, so you'll be asked to complete a contractor utilization plan, and right there is where you will choose. If you want to use your MBE or your WBE, but then you would still have to fulfill the second goal, whatever that is. So you would have to make the election. Our county code doesn't allow dual use of a certification. So
That's in the bonfire system when you're first signing up, or?
not to register. If you're responding to an RFP,
Okay.
then the contractor utilization form and goals will be in that solicitation, and that's where you elect
And Jaime, that's per project.
per project,
Okay.
correct?
So like you said, if you're MBE on one project, but you're WBE on a second project, that can be done.
That can be done, correct?
Any other questions?
Finley,
Legislator Finley.
Could you clarify what I understand to be the requirement that there be 3 certified minorities or in the category before you will set a goal? Now, that's what I understand.
Correct. So our Chapter 6, which is our county code that establishes our MBE WBE program, asks for at least 3 certified firms per scope of work. So if we have a construction project, for example, that has paint, plumbing, drywall, if I find 3 certified firms per scope of work, then I can assign a goal. If I find 1 in each, that won't satisfy that requirement. The intent for that is to promote fair and instant competition. I know it's a little different with some of the other entities. Jackson County, when we created our code, that was one of the recommendations, and it's still a strong recommendation from our consultants, is that we do have that threshold of 3 certified firms per scope of work. So we can have projects with multiple scopes of work. And then, now we don't dictate how they use those scopes of work, but that's just to establish the goal. So if you come in and, we tell you, yes, we found paint, plumbing, and drywall, but then you come in and say, well, I have roofing, that will still, and you can still meet the goal, then that's acceptable as well.
Does anybody have any other questions or comment for us?
Could I
Tips for
understand
us?
that just a little more?
Okay, so more clarification on looking for the 3 subcontractors to put on a project. To sign a
Right. Now, as I understand, and this is something that we'll probably discuss, let's say you've got a construction project, and part of the construction is, like has been mentioned, paint, drywall, concrete. Let's say you want to set a goal for concrete, okay? In order to set a separate goal for that, there has to be 3 certified concrete companies. Is that what I understand?
Correct.
And then, like this gentleman asked, he has a photography company that does construction photography. To break that off for a goal, there has to be 3 photography companies.
Correct. If that's the only scope of work within that project, if it was strictly photography and there was only 2, then technically we can't assign a goal. However, if there was other scopes of work and the prime comes back and says, I have a certified MBE photographer, they can fulfill the assigned goal with his certification also.
That does not prevent them from hiring him
Correct. It does not.
if they want his photography company.
Correct. And they can still get credit for his certification.
Now, the other thing that I don't quite understand that we may work on is the $50,000 threshold. Could you give a little more, and these ladies and gentlemen are in the business, they may know more about that than I have grasp of at this time.
So, along with our our threshold, we have a couple of different thresholds. But the $50,000 threshold, again, is part of our Chapter 6. And the reason that came about was kind of our contracting value and amounts to try to capture as many contracts that we can for $50,000. But on the other hand, also, it's an opportunity to have the firms make a little more money. If you take 10% of 50,000, you can fulfill a goal right there. But then you also have another 10% on top of that if you have an MBE goal. So now you have a prime that's making $30,000, and then you're subcontracting out the rest. That was one of the primary reasons for having that establishing the 50,000 level. I know that you're probably working on that. It just depends. This was established back when we started the program in 2015. So.
But if the contract is not $50,000, what do we do with it?
So if a contract does not meet that threshold, everything starts off with purchasing. So at that point, we don't review it for goals. Now, there could be MBEs or WBEs that are able to fulfill that. And I know we haven't necessarily done this before, but we could always run it and then just send it for notification as far as like who's certified. And you can still get the notice. But I think at that point also, it's important for you to have your NIGP codes in the system already. That way you would get the notice regardless if there's goals or not. And, if it's a smaller contract and you're able to fulfill it, I think that would be the best way to do it.
And that person who was a minority could bid as the prime.
Correct,
Right.
correct, right. And that's what we want.
Yeah, that's a
That's
great
exactly what we
segue into talking about, Heidi already mentioned how we're working with a consultant to review our codes, Chapter 6, Chapter 10 contracting, and our practices, because we're working to create additional opportunities. You heard Heidi just say, what we can do, we're doing that a lot. What can we do that we haven't done? Let's do it. So this is just one of several outreach events we're going to have and just sharing communication about what the county is doing as it relates to enhancing contract opportunities for minority, women, veterans, small businesses, but also just improving our business model, our business practices in contracting with folks in Jackson County. And so you're going to see more of these types of events, probably more than likely a different location, but we want you to continue to share with other people, folks in your business networks, about what we're trying to do here and what we're working towards. Thank you, Legislator Finley, for your additional comments and clarifications. I think that helped. Just having you ask those additional clarifications helped some folks in the room. Are there any other questions or comments? You're welcome to. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the website? Our communication team wrote on the board here, and I'll recite it. It's jacksongov.org. jacksongov.org, and then there's /CRO.
If you go to that,
Yeah.
the CRO website, that'll talk about goals, certificates of compliance. We're also in charge of prevailing wage, so you'll find some information there. So we're in charge of enforcement for prevailing wage on a lot of all construction projects, for anything over 75
We have new software for that too. I was going to talk about a third new software that we have in regards to prevailing wage.
So we've come a long way, thanks to the administration and everybody else. But we also have, in addition to the B2G software for reporting goals, we have LCP Tracker, which is a certified payroll system. I believe some of the other entities in the area also use that. So that helps us with tracking. It helps us when we're out doing site visits, and we are definitely in the business of making sure that all workers get paid what they're supposed to be. We monitor that. I have my colleague here, Akila Alford, that does a great job in making sure that all the workers are getting paid what they're supposed to get paid. So, but yes, come to our website and you can find all that information there.
I'll say it again. So the website is jacksongov.org. And if you just do a / after that and put CRO, Compliance Review Office. Okay. What about tips and comments for us? I keep asking this question because throughout the day, throughout my tenure, I reach out to agencies that are doing what we're trying to do. Like I reach out to J.D. Dunn, I reach out to the City of Kansas City, I reach out to Porterhouse KC, I reach out to Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce, some of these other agencies that are doing, that have minority women, DBE, small businesses programs, or who already have the base that we're trying to communicate, help us with outreach, help us increase that pool that we're trying to reach. So if anything comes to mind, if you have any feedback or any ideas, please share it with us. I know we didn't do a survey, but we're going to. So if you think, because you signed in, we're going to be able to email you a survey about how you thought today went, and then you can also add some additional comments and feedback for us, because we're growing. Thank you. Someone said I did great as an MC. All right, very good. But thank you all for being here. Enjoy your evening and be safe.